Howdy, all my hypotheses. It's me, your boy, Game Hypothesis, and I'm back with another certified hood classic. And in today's video, we will talk about something very near and dear to my heart. That being Shrek 2, of course. Now, I'd say it's fair to say this is objectively the best movie ever created. It is my favorite after all, so it's yours too. But something always struck me as odd in Shrek 2, and that's the weird lore that gets confirmed with passing remarks from the characters. Something they would say, is, for example, is when Donkey is walking through the woods with Shrek, Donkey sees a bush and says it looks like Shirley Bassey, which just for some reason confirms that Shirley Bassey exists in this universe. And there's way more where that came from. So in today's video, we'll discuss them and the implications they create. Firstly, one of the most mind-boggling things to me is when Shrek turns sexy, or if you're in the work environment, when he turns human. One of the hoes that just magically find him in the barn asks if he's from Europe. This just opens up a can of worms. If they aren't in Europe, I'm gonna assume they're from North America. But since they're all white and all. But this makes me question, where the fuck are the Native Americans? Did King Harold manifest destiny and commit genocide on them, like North Americans did in real life? Was there a series of wars and battles that led to Far, Far Away being the victor? Like, what the fuck? Why? Why would they include this? Anyways, the next point is at the end when Puss and Donkey are singing Viva La Vida Loco. Absolute banger, by the way. And before you ask, yes, I'm counting this song. I'm not counting the others because they're played through God. They just appear. But this, Puss and Donkey are actually singing. Alright? So it counts. But the song has a bunch of lyrics that make me go, But the one I want to talk about is when they say, "She took my heart, she took my money, must have slipped me a sleeping pill." Like, what the actual fuck? Why in God's name is date rape a thing in this universe? Who uses it? What's the point? Hold up. Was the magic potion Harold was supposed to give Fiona a form of date rape? Is rape a big issue in the Shrek universe, like in ours? But before I go to my next point, I just want to slip in how, in the song, suicides are common enough thing for them to sing about. That's just a little quirky fact, if you will. But the next point is just as suspect as the previous. In the scene when Shrek finds out Charming is the fairy godmother's son, sorry, spoiler alert, she calls for their arrest. Before I finish the point, I want to add in a quick little sideline. The police chat in the scene where they're running away mentions a white Bronco heading east. That's a fucking OG Simpson reference, and that's fucking hilarious. But anyways, when they get arrested after that scene, the police commit fucking police brutality. Not only is this very topical right now, like, fucking, they're on some Simpsons level shit predicting, but why is this a thing in the Shrek universe? Does this mean Far, Far Away there are those with an unhealthy sense of authority and those who crave to abuse power? Does this also mean there's systematic racism existing in this universe? Because police brutality and systematic racism go together like layers on an onion. That's not even the wildest shit. The next point is so confusing. It's not even bad, like most of the points I'm saying today, but it's just baffling. After Shrek accepts he can't have Fiona, him and the boys go drink their problems away, as you do. But when Puss happens to go take a shot, he says, "I hate Mondays." Now this means one of two things. A, he's a prophet that magically predicted the catchphrase of our Messiah Garfield. Or B, he's a joke-stealing cunt who is stealing Garfield's intellectual property, which is a fucking felony. Either way you cut this cake, it's bad for Puss. But if Puss is quoting Garfield, then when the hell does this movie take place? Because Garfield is a recent part of history. Definitely not medieval Europe or North America. But this next point is just as polarizing as Europe, in my opinion. In the scene before Fairy Godmother abducts Harold and takes him into the in-universe Taco Bell, she appears startling him. Lillian, being a good wife, asks if he's okay after hearing him yell, and he lies saying his old crusade wound is acting up. What the fuck? This one sentence is so mind-boggling. This confirms that Jesus exists in this universe because the Crusades were to reclaim the Holy Land, aka where Jesus was born. Was Jesus crucified in this universe? Was Jesus an ogre? Alright. Even ignoring Jesus, the Crusades were awful, vile times where the Crusaders pillaged and raped their way through Europe. So to hear that King Harold did this is awful. Someone should really cancel this guy. But this makes me wonder, if they did win, do they live in the Holy Land? So many questions, not enough answers. Now, I'm gonna throw you a curveball. Answer me this. What's the last thing you think would be canon in this fictional universe? Like, who knows? Take a wild guess. Was it a workers' union? Because guess what, fucker? If you guessed workers' union, you're right. In the scene where they heist the fairy godmother's factory, the excuse they use to get in is that they're part of the union. Now, in God's green earth, tell me why there is a workers' union in this universe. Does this mean that corporate entities were taking advantage of the workers, so they decided they deserved rights and formed a union? Does this protect against child labor? Do we even see children outside of Shrek's kids? I don't need sleep. I need answers. And when the worker elf says when they mention the union is he doesn't even have dental. So besides how awful it must be to work for the fairy godmother, why the hell did they need to tell us dentists exist? We never once see a dentist or a dentist's office. So when in medieval times did they learn dentistry? I don't understand what this film's trying to achieve. The next point just proves that they live on the same earth as us. If Europe and the Holy Land didn't quite do it for you, bud. In the dinner scene when Shrek, Donkey, Fiona, and her parents, the famous scene, when the lobster comes in, Donkey says, I love Mexican food. Wherever the hell this is set, how would Donkey know about Mexico? Like, if they're in the Holy Land, no, not even close. If they're in Europe, not even close. If they're in North America, no way that asshole's walking to Mexico. It's like he learned the knowledge from somewhere else. Okay, there's plenty of more, but the final important instance of weird implications of Shrek 2 is when the fairy godmother sings her song. Other than it being an absolute banger, there's a lyric that says, they'll write your name on the bathroom wall. For happily ever after, give Princess Fiona a call. Like, bitch, this is a kid's movie. What are you doing? For those wholesome chonkers that I know watch my videos, this is a thing prostitutes would do to ramp up their business. So basically, Fairy Godmother is calling Fiona a hooker, which is a bit harsh when Fiona's essentially her niece. And how dare Fairy Godmother not accept sex workers as workers? She belongs with Harold on the Twitter cancelled, my god. Clearly Fairy Godmother's never heard of an OnlyFans. But, my hypotheses. This is where the hypothesis comes in. I have an hypothesis on how all these implications make sense, and will explain them all. So I'm assuming you all have heard of and or played Horizon Zero Dawn. Very successful game. Well, I'm suggesting that Shrek 2 takes place in the future after some cataclysmic event wipes all of us out, just like in the game. Human life continues, however. Apollo doesn't get yeeted, and the future people actually get all our knowledge, explaining why they know references to Garfield drugs, countries' names, what the fuck a dentist and a union are. and why police brutality exists. They probably heard it and they're just those assholes who say things they hear. This also explains why their society imitates ours so much, because all they know is our society. Them being like Horizon Zero Dawn also explains why they are tribal. There's nomads like Shrek, Donkey, you could count Fiona, but not really. Then actual tribes like Far Far Away and Duloc. And to explain Harold and his little crusade, I think they went to war with Duloc, but called it a crusade because they believe God sent them on this mission. However, I know you must think which event threatened us with extinction that we needed our own Gaia. But wait, I think we already know. It's the fairy tale creatures. They must have killed humans, and as a last ditch attempt, we pacified them with some potion or something, and then made it for humans to come back after blank amount of years, thus creating the Shrek timeline. But that's just a hypothesis. A game hypothesis. Fuck you for watching.
Oh, these are pretty cool bananas.